Yo, what's up? What's up, everybody? How are you? Good day, good morning. Happy weekend. Happy weekend. Um, today's gonna be weird. I don't know how it's exactly gonna go down, besides the fact that we're obviously doing news first. So we'll get the news segment done, and then we will probably do a couple hours of Witcher 3, a bit of Gwent. Um, Maybe some Fall Guys. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. See how I'm feeling, and we'll just play it like that. Play it like. I hope everybody's doing well. It's good to see you guys. Let's go ahead and hop into this gaming news segment. Go see what's going on in the world of games, the world of video games, man. Cool. Let's go. Let's do this. Cool. 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 Activision is earning more money from mobile than PC and something combined. We'll see what's going on there. Oh no. GameStop's NFT marketplace sold stolen indie games. Good job. Good job. Oh man. Yo, gamer, what's up, dude? How are you, buddy? Happy weekend, man. You're not working this weekend, are you? It's good to see you, man. Grab that Java, dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Advertising reimagined for the gaming world. Oh, you volunteered to go in? All right, right on. Better than being told you have to, I guess. Uh, I'm not going to dive into this article. The more immersed we get in gaming, the more immersive the gaming world becomes for us. The more ingrained and the more real time that advertising is going to become within our play spaces. Yeah, especially like live service, online live service type games. You're going to see more um, live advertising space. You know, whether it be, for instance, playing around in a online competitive multiplayer game where maybe you're running through a certain area of a map and there's going to be maybe a holographic type of advertising that changes between each advertisement. You know, there's going to be stuff like that in games as we move forward. I'm not going to dive into this, but just be prepared, man. I mean, advertising, whether it be product placement, what have you, has been in games for a very long time. As technology evolves, as gaming evolves, it's just going to become more and more ingrained. And it is marketing, advertising is going to evolve at the same kind of pace and be more ingrained in the world we love. It just is. Apparently, Far Cry 6 is free to play this weekend. Let's just see what this is on real quick. Probably Steam, I'm guessing. You playing Epic. It's you playing Epic. Far Cry 6 is free to play until 12 p.m. on August 7th on Uplay and Epic Game Store, okay? So if you've been interested in trying out Far Cry 6, and now's your chance to see if you might be interested in actually grabbing the game, okay? Square Enix reportedly worried that Tomb Raider and Deus Ex ellipses. We'll see what's going on there. We're seeing a lot of these articles, gaming, such as this one. Mobile gaming market falls 10% first half of 2022. Uh, Here's your TLDR. If you have not heard it here or anywhere else, the gaming industry as a whole, mobile, hardware, software, console, PC, you name it, peripherals, the gaming industry as a whole altogether has seen roughly a 20% decrease in market profitability since the beginning of 2021 up to this point, are the numbers that I've seen so far. That does not mean that the industry as a whole is like hemorrhaging money. It's just not as profitable as it was previously, okay? So the market has dropped, doesn't mean it's not still making money, okay? There, I think it was inevitable that the market was going to kind of come back down to reality a little bit. It got boosted pretty significantly by the fact that people had to stay home in large part during a lot of the escalated quarantine measures that were being put in place during the COVID pandemic and things like that. People were looking more towards online communities, which you find a lot of in video games, right? So for their social interactions and everything, because you couldn't do a lot of it face to face. So gaming in general saw, while development side of gaming saw a bit of a decline, just like a lot of other industries did. The actual market for gaming shot up, and it was inevitable that once a lot of the pandemic stuff kind of got back to normal, that the market was going to kind of level back out, come back down, and we've seen that happen. Former employees of Montreal video game studio outraged they were laid off. See what's going on there. Lost Warcraft adventure game can now be played. See what that is. Wow, Steam added support for Nintendo JoyCon controllers. Cool, man. That's really, really cool. Zenless Zone Zero beta footage reveals breakneck combat. Okay, let's see what's going on there. We kind of read about this yesterday. There's been an improvement to the Xbox Series S console in general, with some memory improvements, not based on the hardware being put in it, just on hardware be the way that the hardware memory specifically is being utilized within the console itself, and therefore developers of software for the console are having an easier time developing software to be put on the Series S. All right, let's pivot into our other search real quick. That was spelled very wrong. There we go. We've already kind of touched on this a little bit. We'll see more about this as we get some solid official news on these topics. We'll dive more into it. Again, EA reportedly working on some Iron Man and Black Panther games. That's the kind of leaked news there, but it's nothing official yet. And as we get more on it, especially official news, we'll dive further into that, okay? We've all already talked as well about how multiverses has some balancing issues, especially for Taz and Bugs Bunny. They've already noted that they're going to be balancing characters and everything after Evo's finished. Yeah. We've seen the updates that are coming for Project L, the new League of Legends fighting game as well. This game looks really cool. It looks really cool, and they've came out and committed to the game being free to play, just like most of Riot's games are. Will there be some kind of transaction shop? Of course. But I don't think that the game is going to have any kind of pay to win in it necessarily. Just a lot of cosmetic kind of stuff. And as far as the very brief kind of action that I've seen from the game itself, it looks very, very good. And I haven't played a fighting game in a while. Who knows? Maybe we'll have to try it out. All right, gamer. There you go, dude. Talked about AEW Fight Forever as well. As we get more on this, we'll take a look. But again, this is the new professional wrestling game coming out, which will be a direct competitor to WWE's franchise of wrestling games. And it's good. They need competition in that specific genre of sports games there. So it's good. It's needed. Xbox reveals its first singing controller? What? There have been a lot of fan made kind of. I mean, we've seen stuff done with Bully. The old Bully game had a trailer that was remade with Unreal Engine 5. We've seen Silent Hill be redone with Unreal Engine 5. We've just seen generic kind of portrayals of humans uh, be created in Unreal Engine 5. And it is an amazing, amazing engine. And what the future of video games holds for us being built on Unreal Engine 5 is very, very promising, I would say. Um, I can't wait, honestly, to see more and more for what developers are able to bring to the table for us, built off of that engine. I'm not gonna keep taking looks of what people are doing with it, just as fan built kind of things, because it's not necessarily real news in regards to pertinent things for the gaming industry. Whenever Unreal Engine 5 was first released, it was good to see what people were be able to do with it. And as we keep going, it's always amazing to see what people are just doing as fans of certain worlds and universes and things, and being able to build these worlds out of Unreal Engine 5. But for the sake of not extending the news segments any further than we need to, and the fact that we've already seen a lot of what can be done with Unreal Engine 5 just from fan-based kind of creations, I'm gonna probably stay away from that. Unless it's specific to a game being built and seeing some trailers of those games being built on that engine. But just fan-based stuff, I'm probably gonna stay away from now on. We've even seen worlds of like Zelda being built on Unreal Engine 5, and so looks really cool. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday, and I briefly kind of summarized that a little bit earlier. That's where the Series S is going to be a bit better, nicer for developers moving forward, and games will look and feel a bit better on it. It seems like moving forward on the Series S Xbox. Oh, sick, dude! I love Red. Yeah, I love Red 13, dude. Yeah, yeah, it's a cool character. My honestly, dude, I think my favorite character from Seven is Vincent. Man, Vincent's like my favorite character. Outside of like Cloud, obviously. Really, honestly, I think Sephiroth is actually my favorite character. Sephiroth is actually my favorite character, but then it would be like Vincent and Cloud. I like Vincent a lot, dude. Steam update brings great news for Nintendo fans. We've already got something up about that. An article pulled up. So, Deus Ex Studio reportedly wants to do what Cyberpunk couldn't. Yeah, we read about this as well. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC courses leaked. This is all kind of needing to be taken with a grain of salt as well, though. It's not like it's a potential leak. It's not official kind of stuff either. So, if you're seeing anything in regards to what we already talked about yesterday, in regards to these Mario Kart 8 Deluxe courses that are potentially coming in the future with these DLC releases. Take it with a grain of salt. There's probably some that will and maybe some that won't, okay? Until you get official news on that front, anyways. Let's see what we got. Square Enix reportedly worried that Tomb Raider and Deus Ex cannibalized sales of its Japanese games. Final Fantasy developer is also reportedly looking to sell stakes in remaining studios. Square Enix has reportedly revealed that its sales of studios Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal was driven by concerns their games would cannibalize sales of the rest of the company. Looking forward, it also looks like Square Enix may look to sell stakes in some of its studios to improve capital efficiency, all while resources shift from US and European studios to Japan. As shared by MST Financial Senior Analyst David Gibson on Twitter, Square Enix has delved further into the rationale of its decision to sell the Tomb Raider and Deus Ex studios during a recent conference call for investors. According to Gibson, this company that felt that sales from the pair would cannibalize sales of the rest of the company and that selling them would allow Square Enix to improve capital efficiency. Capital efficiency because they already told everybody they wanted to pivot into blockchaining and NFTs real hard, which they've already started doing. That brings us to the next phase of Square Enix's plan. The cost of creating games is only rising, so Square Enix wants to be more selective with resources and limit expansion to diversify its studio capital structure. The effects of what will reportedly be felt by European and American studios, with Japanese games benefiting from the additional resource. As part of the initiative, Gibson also shares that Square Enix is looking to sell stakes in its studios to improve capital efficiency. Quote, improve capital efficiency, which is notable with Sony and Tencent expanding. Whether any possible sale comes to pass remains to be seen, though we haven't been short of acquisitions of late. Tencent has made a habit of snapping up studios, and Sony recently grabbed headlines with its acquisition of Bungie, Square Enix clearly has a good working relationship with Sony, so rumors of that acquisition are a favorite, though we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. Yo, gamer, be safe. Have a good day at work, buddy. Thanks for being here, dude. As always, man. Yeah, we've heard the rumor for a while this year that if Square Enix was going to sell, Sony would be a front runner to acquire Square Enix. But we've also heard and already seen what Square Enix's plan is for the future, and you know, their CEO is very, very vocal about having a dedicated direction at incorporating blockchaining and NFTs in the direction of their company moving forward. And what that says to me is that more than likely, this company is not having a real. And I mean, I'm going to be honest here. The things that I've seen from Square Enix and heard about Square Enix kind of drives this fact home that they are turning more into one of those companies that just has such a they are so tunnel visioned on bottom line. It's not about what gaming means for people anymore. It's not about producing amazing quality content. They're still producing decent games, but it's not about listening to their consumer and their fan base about what they want. It's about what can make them the most money, and we've seen it happen time and time again. And I mean, we've already seen them start selling off companies to try to gain capital to push into that market, and we'll see how it works out for them. Former employees of the Montreal video game studio outraged about how they were laid off. Workers who were kept on invited to special staff meeting told not to tell others about cuts. Some former employees of a Montreal mobile video game studio said they feel disrespected by the way management went about telling them that they'd been let go. On Thursday, U.S.-based video game studio Jam City made sweeping cuts to its overall staff at the company, including dozens of workers at its Montreal subsidiary, Ludia. CBC Montreal spoke with several former employees who say they found out about the layoffs through word of mouth after management held a morning staff meeting solely for those who were being kept on. Those that were safe were told, come in the meeting. We're announcing to you that we're laying people off. If you're in this meeting, you're safe, said Kevin, a former quality assurance worker who was laid off. He said his coworkers were told to keep the news private from affected staff, who would be informed of the termination in individual private meetings with human resources later that day. But within a half hour of the morning meeting ending, Kevin said he lost access to his various work accounts and tools. Feels like a slap to the face, he said. The former employee who had been with Ludia since September of 2021 asked to remain anonymous for fear of repercussions for his career in the industry. Kevin said he was told the layoffs were for economic purposes and corporate restructuring. Said it in a separate email from management, said the company was removing redundant roles. Before the end of the day, Kevin said his former team went from 40 workers to 22. Human Resources told him that up to 60 people at Ludia had been let go. Ludia, founded in 2007, specializes in mobile video games such as Jurassic World, Alive, The Price is Right, Family Feud, and other game show brands. CBC Montreal spoke with 3 former employees who were critical of culture changes to the studio since its acquisition by Los Angeles-based Jam City last fall. The workers, who were also given anonymity due to fear of repercussions to their careers, said the profitability of the games was prioritized rather than their quality. There we go, man. It was very much business talk, money talk, cost effective. All the talk about the fun of video games, or just like the general feeling of making video games, was off the table, said Kevin, citing complaints he heard from his colleagues. One former employee who worked for Ludia for 2 years quit shortly after the acquisition because they disagreed with the direction the company would be taking. Studio had recently announced a new development that would include non-fungible tokens. Imagine that. A company that former employees have noted the profitability of the games was prioritized rather than their quality. And shortly thereafter, the studio announced new development would include non-fungible tokens. Imagine that. What a coincidence. Not actually, right? I mean, this is something that I talk about quite often in the channel. It seems like all these studios that are having a pivot into this Web3 blockchain pay to earn, NFT incorporation, these mechanics that they're throwing into their games, they only have one thing in mind, man, and that's how much money can we make? It's not about creating quality content. And I get it, it's a business, man, but it doesn't have to be a business about being scummy. You can still make good money and create quality products and create fun for people, which is what video games are supposed to be about. Also said that during a Q&A session following the acquisition, Ludia told employees there would be no layoffs. Jam City has refuted that claim. Feels bad. Feels bad, man. I would say Jam City, probably a studio to be very wary of right now. I like this tattoo. I like that tattoo. But Jam City sounds like a development studio that people should be very wary of at this point, I would say. In my opinion, anyways. That's what I get out of that article. The Lost Warcraft adventure game can now be played the way it was meant to be. Warcraft Adventures Lord of the Clans was a point-and-click adventure game canceled by Blizzard in 1998. And how time flies, the game was lost for most of its history, only existing in a few old screenshots and videos that floated around the internet, but in 2016, the full game suddenly appeared as a download. It was playable, near complete, including cinematics and voice acting, and the individual who leaked it said, "This is my gift for all Blizzard fans, old and new." To which Blizzard lawyers responded, "This is my DMCA for all hosts of Warcraft Adventures, old and new." The game is thus out there somewhere in the way that nothing can ever be truly scrubbed from the internet, but don't go around bragging if you find it. Woo! I apologize. Don't go around bragging if you find it. The reason you might want to is that modder Silver83 has spent the last 6 years on and off fixing one of the biggest problems with the build, and one pretty important for an adventure game. First spotted by Indie Retro News, the original leak of Warcraft Adventures was playable start to finish, included nearly all cutscenes, but the latter, in particular, suffered from desynced audio and missing sound effects. Additionally, these had been encoded with a low bitrate and suffered from a lot of compression artifacts. A few weeks later, 2 missing cutscenes were found on a DVD, but being filmed from a TV screen. These had even bigger issues. Silver has now released a Warcraft Adventure cutscenes remaster project, a standalone mod containing all the game's cutscenes. You'll need to still track down the game yourself, including the 2 that were not present in the original leak, all completely remastered. Here are the main changes. Warcraft Adventures was conceived in an era when point-and-click adventures were hugely popular, and Blizzard wanted a piece of the action with its biggest brand. Blizzard wasn't really a specialist at elements of adventure games, though, and so partnered with Russian studio Animation, best known for the infamous Legend of Zelda CDI games. The story would revolve around Thrall uniting the various orc clans and eventually forming the Horde as we know it. But the game was canceled shortly before E3 1998, with Blizzard essentially feeling that its traditional adventure stylings would no longer be the state-of-the-art next to competitors like the stunning Grim Fandango. Former Blizzard VP Bill Roper later said of the decision, "When we got to the point where we canceled it, it was just because we looked at where we were and said, this would have been great 3 years ago." The game's story was turned into a novel, Warcraft Lord of the Clans, and Warcraft Adventures disappeared till videos began surfacing on YouTube in 2011. The Russian origin of many seemed to suggest that former Animation staff or freelancers may have been behind the boosted copies. Warcraft Adventures is a relic, a curio from a time when Warcraft wasn't yet a world, and Blizzard was still figuring out elements like the tone and humor it would use in the future. This is a game where the world-destroying dragon Deathwing puffs on a hookah. The only major problem the leaked Warcraft Adventures had was these cutscene issues. And it's kind of amazing that one devoted individual has just been tinkering away with them for the past 6 years. Version 1.0 is a turning point for me, writes Silver. I've been working on it for the last 6 years. And in that time, I've done almost all I can do with in a reasonable time frame to complete and enhance the cutscenes. For me, the game is very much enjoyable now, and I see no real use in enhancing the cutscenes any further. I want to remember this project as something fun before it transforms into some kind of a burden. So this is it. The final release of my cutscenes remaster project, and I hope everybody who uses it can enjoy it as much as I do. Fully playable start to finish, and now with all the extent cutscenes now working as they should, there are a lot worse fates for canceled games than this. That's really cool. That's really neat. And kudos to where's that? Silver83. Kudos to that individual for sticking with it. For all the fans that wanted to play that game and got a hold of that leaked copy, kudos to that individual for fixing all the bad parts of it. Steam finally adds support for Nintendo JoyCon controllers. Sick. Good news for anyone who wants to use JoyCon controllers on their PC. The devices are now officially supported. Joy-Cons have been functional on PCs for years now. French site Nintendo Actu first figured out how to make them work back in 2017, but that was a limited implementation with only one of the two controllers usable at a time in single-player games. The official Steamer support is much more robust, however, making them usable both individually as a mini gamepad and combined into pairs, and according to user comments, with remappable buttons. The JoyCon support is included in the latest Steam beta update, which means you'll need to be opted into the Steam client beta. To do so, hop into your Steam settings and look for beta participation under the account menu. Hit the change button, select Steam beta update, then restart, and you'll be on your way. On the hardware side, you'll also need a USB Bluetooth adapter. One of those will set you back about $10 or so, or have a motherboard with Bluetooth built in order to actually make the connection with the Joy-Cons. I'm a dedicated mouse and keyboard guy. I play all the way through Elden Ring using mouse and keyboard. Me too. And let me tell you, that takes real commitment. And so the appeal of controllers largely eludes me. But the response to the addition of Joy-Con support seems very positive overall. A couple of users have complained in the comments about issues with Linux support. If you're in that boat too, you might find some help in the Steam for Linux client docs on GitHub. The new beta update also improves support for the Nintendo Online Classic controllers, which was initially added on June 17th. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I mean, more support across the board. Because look, I mean, I'm in the same boat as that individual. I tend to almost always play with mouse and keyboard. Even if a game is optimized for controller, I will power through with mouse and keyboard. That's just who I am. But I'm playing Witcher 3 with a controller right now because I haven't played a game on controller in quite a while. And it's nice to just kind of chill out and relax every once in a while and play a game on a controller for me. So that's what we're doing. But to each their own, and there are a lot of people out there that really enjoy using controllers, and so the more support there are for peripherals across the board, the better gaming world there is for everybody to be a part of, and so as far as I'm concerned, that's awesome. Zenless Zone Zero beta footage reveals breakneck combat and some extreme jiggle physics. Uh-oh. Get ready. Get ready, you weebs. Oh, the jiggle physics. The Zenless Zone Zero beta, or rather its first tuning test, is underway, giving us some early hands-on impressions and gameplay for the next title from Genshin Impact dev Hoyoverse. Unsurprisingly, players have immediately latched onto its fast combat and roguelike progression, and its jiggle physics. Also that. This tuning test is essentially a closed beta, which only saw a limited number of invites, but participants, including plenty of Genshin content creators, can at least stream and share their gameplay. This has already produced a wealth of clips, showcases, and highlight reels, and the test has only just begun at the time of writing. It's immediately clear that Zenless Zone Zero is a much faster action game than Genshin, and maybe even Hoyoverse's Honkai Impact 3. You can seemingly assemble a squad of 3 characters, swap between them on the fly, either to use specific moves or to chain fighting game-style assists to charge your ultimate abilities. You can also perfect dodge attacks, briefly slow time, and abilities seem to have short cooldowns in general, giving fights positively breakneck pacing overall. We watched some of this, didn't we? I'm pretty sure we watched a little bit. I think during like June showcase stuff. Looks like there's gonna be like a furry come true, yeah. Is that a belt or a tail? Pretty sure those are definitely ears though. That's a belt. Alright.
たじゃん。10倍返しよ。りゃこんなの楽勝よ。よっとこうやっりゃぼんやり秩序改正集中。逃げようったって無駄よ。よっとこうこう
汚れを排除する。ようやく全ての汚物が片付きました。
私の出番か。こうりゃこうりゃよっとこうやりゃ
汚れする。何なり
音ね雪思いのほか張り合いがなかったな。悪を切る。よしふいと知れ集中。
どこへ逃げるつもりです。この罪を許し忠誠心を賛美して。
I mean, the graphics and everything look good, but I don't know. I still just like anytime I see like action RPG games anymore, it looks like just a bunch of chaos. You know, I mean, I don't know. Like you just stand, like all I see is a bunch of just standing there, really face tanking something and just button mashing is what it looks like. You know, it doesn't look like. It doesn't look like you're having to be tactical about anything, you know, and actually use any kind of brain power to figure out how to get through fights or circumvent mechanics from enemies or anything. It's just button mash, combat mash, everything. And those are probably just some like low level enemies and stuff, and that's the way that goes quite often. But I mean, that's the trend in action combat games nowadays. It feels like it's just chaos attacks everywhere. You know, like as opposed to some like discrete fighting mechanics where you've got to be kind of pinpoint accuracy with stuff and I don't know. You want to take a look at more stuff coming. I mean, the graphics and everything look cool, and it's a very small sample size there. So, I mean, there could be a lot. I mean, you would hope there'd be a lot more to it than what we're seeing, right? Xbox reveals its first singing controller. Xbox has revealed a singing Xbox controller. Not a joke or a goof, there is now a series of customized Xbox controllers based on the song Bad Decisions by Benny Blanco, BTS, and Snoop Dogg. Xbox described it as the first ever singing Xbox controller, which seems like a genuinely true statement given the fact that it seems like an unusual decision to make, and it is giving 30 of them away in promotion of the new song. How to enter the sweepstakes is simple. Seems relatively simple. Anyone 18 or older simply needs to follow the official Xbox Twitter account, retweet the promotional tweet embedded below with the hashtag Bad Decision Song Xbox Sweepstakes for a chance to win. 30 lucky winners will receive one of the customized Xbox controllers celebrating the release of the Bad Decision song and music video. Notably, the official rules for the sweepstakes indicate that the custom Bad Decision singing Xbox controller is intended for display use only. It's somewhat unclear from the promotional image how exactly one makes it sing, but it does look as if the speaker might be on the underside near what would normally be the battery compartment. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Given that it's for display use, it might not actually be a functional controller, which could allow for any of the buttons to start whatever clip of what one assumes to be Bad Decisions playing when pressed. Weird. That's weird. Okay. Up. A non-functional controller that just plays a song. All right. It's a weird move. Deus Ex Studio reportedly wants to do what Cyberpunk 2077 couldn't. The team behind the Deus Ex series apparently wants to bring the series back and show up CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk. Deus Ex series is one of the most beloved sci-fi cyberpunk-ish game franchises out there and really found a lot of love with its most recent games, Deus Ex Human Revolution and Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Both games were received quite well by critics, but Square Enix was supposedly unhappy with the sales of the last game. Despite Eidos Montreal assuring fans that Deus Ex wasn't dead, the developer went to work on other games such as the beloved Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which also disappointed Square Enix sale-wise. But overall, it was also thought of as a pretty good game. Nevertheless, it seems there may be more Deus Ex on the horizon. According to journalist Jeff Grubb, Eidos Montreal is interested in bringing back Deus Ex. I'm guessing, especially since Embracer Group has agreed to buy the studio and the franchise from Square Enix, and using it to do what Cyberpunk 2077 couldn't, which is a bold ambition given all the aspirations of CD Projekt Red and the community had for that game. What exactly Eidos Montreal wishes to specially achieve is a bit unclear, as Cyberpunk 2077 was a very large game in scope, and the Deus Ex franchise has always been semi-open world, typically opting for hub worlds instead of one big map. Nevertheless, it was noted that this ambition likely wouldn't be possible under Square Enix, and the luxury may be afforded to Eidos Montreal by its new owner, Embracer Group. As of right now, it remains unclear if or when Eidos Montreal will make a new Deus Ex game, but sounds like if it's really happening, it's very early days. Of course, all this should be taken with a grain of salt since it's a rumor for an unannounced game. It's entirely possible Deus Ex will make a return, but things could change during development, the result in the team not going in that direction. Either way, it's certainly an interesting prospect that would be exciting to see. Random mode time, guys. Random mode time. Yeah, I mean, my thought all along here. Kapow! After finding out that Embracer Group had agreed to purchase the North American dev studios from Square Enix, and along with that was going to be Thief, Deus Ex, and Tomb Raider IPs, was that Embracer Group was probably going to put those new IPs to use and start developing new games off of those. So I would assume that we'll probably see a new Deus Ex coming sometime in the near future. They'll probably announce a new development on that pretty soon. Pinky, what's up, buddy? Activision is earning more money from mobile than PC and console combined. Because of titles like Diablo Immortal, publisher earned more than $800 million from mobile games in Q2. Activision has confirmed via newly released financial documents that it made more money on its phone games last quarter than it did on all of its console and PC games combined. That's so weird. As spotted by TweetTown, Activision's quarterly report was published last week and shed some light on how its biggest games across PC, console, and mobile are doing financially. Because of games like Diablo Immortal, Call of Duty Mobile, and Candy Crush Saga, the beleaguered Call of Duty publisher is making a lot of cash off phone games. In fact, more than half of its total earnings for the second quarter of 2022 came from mobile titles and not console or PC games. About 51% of Activision's total earnings from the Q2 of this year came from mobile games. That adds up to about $831 million US in mobile game earnings. Meanwhile, its console games earned around $376 million, and PC games brought in a bit less at $332 million. Finally, it made $105 million from events and esports. Samara, what's up, my friend? Happy weekend, guys. Happy weekend. Hope everybody's weekend's going well. What you might not expect, especially if you don't realize how massive mobile gaming has become over the last decade, is that of the $831 million made off phone games, most of it came from King's titles and not stuff like Call of Duty Mobile. In the report, Activision says that King titles like Candy Crush and Farm Heroes brought in over $680 million. What these numbers reveal is that for big publishers like Activision, the future is likely one where it invests more, even more resources and money into mobile games and focuses less and less on console games. In an era where AAA games are more expensive to make than ever, take years to create, and often flop, mobile games have become a lifeline for large game companies looking to keep their heads above water. Doing fine? Good, Samara. For Activision, it's especially important as Call of Duty continues to lose millions of players and underperform, seeing as the company has spent years focusing much of its energy on Call of Duty, at one point even having every studio it owned working on the franchise in some capacity. It's likely it will seek to diversify into mobile more, not less, moving forward. It should also be noted that Activision's hugely successful mobile games are one of the main reasons Microsoft began the process of buying the company earlier this year, following a huge public fallout after the company was sued over years of sexual harassment and discrimination. In some way, Call of Duty and Warcraft are more like bonuses that Xbox gets on top of King and its money-printing games. Yeah. Kind of wild, man. Kind of wild. This is the last article I have for this morning, so if you guys have anything you would like to add or talk about before I end it, let me know, okay? GameStop's NFT marketplace sold stolen indie games. GameStop, dude. Sclerotic Funko Pop retailer GameStop continues its ill-advised NFT marketplace pivot despite a string of embarrassments. Less than 2 weeks after news broke that its service played host to an NFT adaptation of a famous image of a 9/11 victim falling to their death, jeez. An Ars Technica report revealed that GameStop NFT marketplace facilitated the sale of unauthorized NFT copies of indie games. An individual named Nathan Ello released the Nifty Arcade Collection on GameStop's marketplace, earning 8.4 Ethereum, about $14,000 in initial sales. Ello definitively did not have permission to use at least 2 of the games in his project, and it also appears, but is not entirely certain, that he was not authorized to use a further 3 more games included in the Nifty Arcade. Ello additionally did not have license to use the Pico 8 engine utilized in all 5 of those games. Ultimately, the Nifty Arcade was pulled from the GameStop marketplace and Ello's account was suspended, but the diffuse nature of NFTs means that users can still access their copies of these unlicensed games, and their creators may not have any recourse. Ello offered to compensate the developers harmed by the Nifty Arcade, and has meanwhile revived the project on another marketplace with a promise that future games will be in proper compliance with all terms of service of the NFT marketplace. This story is yet another example of the shady behavior facilitated by NFT marketplaces. The summer 2021 promises NFTs ensuring artists' ownership of their work have swiftly given way to a reality where their work is often exploited against their will. This is all while the NFTs themselves continue to offer no tangible benefits or use cases beyond profit generation, as Brazilian developer Mark Venturelli so eloquently put in his talk at the Brazil International Games Festival last month. Yeah, that was actually awesome. This isn't even the first instance of NFT creators turning extant games into blockchain tokens, with Metagravity's Retro Arcade Collection offering this treatment to a selection of older, bigger budget games. It's especially odious to see this spiritually deadening NFT nonsense from GameStop fester when you remember that the company recently laid off a significant number of employees, including some of our peers at the long-running video game magazine Game Informer. GameStop just continues to they're just digging themselves that hole, aren't they? and just digging themselves a hole, man. I don't know. That's all I got, guys. That's all I got. Nice, concise, chill, quick news segment for today. Still trying to decide what I want to pivot into this morning. I've been feeling like we need to keep going with a bit of Witcher on the weekends to get content pushed through. So we might do a little bit of Witcher, then a little bit of Gwent today. We'll see. But that is it for the news segment. Thanks for being a part of it. You guys rock. We're going to move on to some gaming stuff for the rest of the day. But if you are checking this out as a VOD on YouTube later and you're enjoying the content, then see what you can do about coming and hanging out with myself and everybody else, all the other amazing people that are part of this community. When we do the news segments live every single day at 6 a.m. CST to start off every single stream, okay? Also, consider hitting that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. And other than that, just stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another. And we'll catch everybody tomorrow for August 7th edition of Video Gaming News. All right. Tabo, what's up, buddy?